Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today is story time. I'd like to share one of my biggest manifestation. Actually, it's a series of manifestations with you today. I kept pushing to share this story because there's just a lot. So this all happened back in March. I decided to move out. Actually, it all happened in February. Pardon me. It all, you could call it, fell apart from the place I previously lived in this city. I'm now in another city, and I have been living in this city for the past almost 6 months. So you could call it, I dropped everything within 24 hours, 18 hours, something like that. And I didn't have a place to stay that night. I decided to go to my local gym change room just to sleep there for one more night on the cold ass floor. And then the second morning I bounced up and I was on my way to here. So this was when I had my bags with me. I did not have a place. I did not have a job. I was running out of cash. Okay, let's just put it that way. Okay, that was my, you can call it circumstance, right? That was the circumstance. So the circumstances in my life, what I do with them is I always accept. Even I tried my hardest to accept the current circumstances, and from that rather more or less neutral place, I select again what is I want to manifest, meaning what I want to experience instead. Okay, so after 3 hours plus, I got to the place. It was beach. I loved beach. I wanted to visit again. I just needed, that was my first destination. And excuse me. So I got to the beach. I was relaxing, and you know, your ego tells you all these things, doesn't it? Oh girl, you don't have a place to stay. Fast forward, I got a place to stay. I was scrolling on the internet. I found a place to stay. That place was actually the direction I always wanted to explore, but I never got to explore. It was completely brand new to me. That direction never traveled to those suburbs around this whole big city. So because this city to me is rather new, I never lived there. I only visited from time to time. I'm super familiar with all the cafes, restaurants around, because that's the places I visited going back and forth when I was homeless, remember? So fast forward, I got the room. It was a living room. The house was actually pretty nice, and I was to live there for 1 week. Okay, that's the money I had. That's the agreement we had. It was a safe place. It was a nice place, nice setup, everything. It was I always need to point this out because it's super important to me. It's walking distance from the gym I train on a regular basis. So these factors are all check. I ended up living there for 3 weeks. Okay. The morning I was actually about to move out. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. I actually ran out of money during that 3 weeks period, right? So I ran out of money. I actually went back to the previous city. It was like 4+ hours on the bus. So this was a side story, but not really a side story. If you just follow me along, it's all going to make perfect sense to you. So the second week I lived in that house, I went back to the big city I used to live for more than a decade. The reason I went back was because I wanted to get some cash. But anyways, I knew in my heart there was no way for me to get cash. And just bear with me, it was not from some other people's money. I was not asking for money. It was my own money, but then my dad also helped me out. So on and so, it was just that kind of situation. So I hopped on this bus. Normally there was train, there was no bus. So if you take the train, it's about 3 hours. If you don't take the train, if you hop on the bus and you do all these routes, it's about 4+ hours. So in my heart, I knew something would come up as I left the house, 6 o'clock in the morning, hunting for cash. Okay, that was just. Anyways, it was a Saturday. I met this lovely girl at the station. We were both going to the city, and she lives in this city. She doesn't live in that city. That city is rather foreign to her. So we had a good time, chit chat, and she shared her snacks. And I asked her if that was possible for her to help me out, and it wasn't possible, but she introduced me to someone that actually helped me out big time. So this was all on this bridge of incidents. For me, I ended up had probably almost 3,000 within 5 days. Anyway, so I held on to that money, and I kept living in the house for full 3 weeks. On the Monday morning, in March, this was late March, at 7 o'clock, I was brushing my teeth. I was about to move. This couple I was sharing the house with happened to be in the kitchen having their breakfast. Okay, now, because I didn't live there for that long, we were just, saying hi, bye situation. No any form of relationship whatsoever, and I never found them 7 o'clock because I'm a morning person. I never found them, and I was living in the living room, so with a big bed. I just never heard them having breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning. Never happened, right? Anyways, it was pouring outside, and I was gifted an umbrella the day before, so it all came together. I was like, okay, this is great. But then second thought, do I really want to go into the pouring rain with this umbrella without knowing where I'm gonna go? Actually, I'm just gonna go to the gym. That's my plan. Without knowing which direction. Should I stay in this city? I newly moved in like 3 weeks ago. Should I go back to the city I'm super familiar with? Should I don't know. What should I do? So my heart was open. I was in a neutral place. I didn't trying to beat myself up for an answer that I didn't have at the time. So I asked them, I said, if you don't mind to give me a lift to the gym. I'm not sure if it was they didn't understand what I was saying. One of them comes from Hong Kong, the other comes from Taiwan. I'm not sure what happened to my request, but anyways, they ended up parking the car in the big mall, right, in the parking lot. So the girl, as she was opening the car door, she said, look, I've got a job for you. If you come to my shop, and then you get to work as a receptionist. So, I was ready to go into the gym, stretch, possibly have a tiny workout and figure my life out. And then she said that. So I was like, at least I could check it out. So it was around 8 o'clock. We grabbed coffee, and I actually got her coffee. Also, I ordered myself a big breakfast because intuitively I knew it was going to be a big day. Anyways, 9 o'clock, the manager came. We had a chat, and the manager was like, I'm going to ask around for people to sort you out a room, right? So at the end of the day, 5:30, I got myself a brand new job, a brand new house with a room that is super duper nicely set up. It's 724 air conditioning, with a bunch of people that were actually really nice to me. Fast forward, I worked nonstop for 12 weeks, and things seemed to fall apart in that job and also in that house. But I secretly asked for things to fall apart the second month. I think this was after 5-6 weeks. I started working and living in this, the same job, and the house. I got both on the same day. So now, I didn't look for a job. I didn't look for a house. They were all just literally falling. They fell on my lap, just like that. And I made a whole bunch of money. It was a tiny pay each day, but I got tips left and right. It ended up just becoming a really good, and it was cash. It was good pay. It was cash. So I'm telling you, and I'm sharing this story, and it's not for you to try. It's not for you to try, because this is my life, and those are my manifestations and my decisions. But if you dare, right? If you dare to take anything from this story, from my story, my personal experiences, to test it out in your life, this is what I would take away with me, is you don't know what is actually happening for you. You don't know. You don't know is because we don't see the whole spectrum and the whole picture. We just don't. So the circumstance in front of you right now, you don't know what this circumstance is going to lead to. But what I always did was, at least I just keep my heart open and just ask for the experience that I actually want to experience. Now, I didn't have enough cash. Cash was solved. I didn't have a place was solved. I didn't have a job was solved. I didn't have my heart wanted to stay in the new city, and that wish was also granted and fulfilled. So you know what you want and you stick with what you want, but not asking for it as no, this is something has to happen for me, otherwise. There are other possibilities for sure. This is an inclusive universe. You gotta be opening your heart to other possibilities. Yes, that possibility exists. Yes, something else exists, but this is what I prefer. So this is rather a soft ask. So yeah, this is one thing I would take away from my personal stories. If I was watching someone talking this story on YouTube, definitely. So, and because you don't know, you don't see, you can't see, you don't have the ability to see, there's only one way for you to bring something you'd like to experience in, is you change your perception. You change your perception is you ask for an experience that you just prefer, you would like to experience, right? You prefer, now universe, I prefer this. I remember there was once I asked, actually, I didn't have food, I didn't have money to buy the food, I had probably $1. This was somewhere last March, or if not April. And I just said, universe, I gotta eat, I'm hungry, I gotta eat. I waited for about 16 hours without no food. Now it's the time for me to eat. And within 1 minute walk, I got a free meal. And it was not something like I went there to ask. Nope, I downloaded their app and they gave me a free, actually one of my favorite meals, free burrito bowl with a whole bunch of protein and with rice. So, you know, things actually miraculously work out. No, it's not miraculously work out. Things always work out one way or the other, but you gotta keep your eye on your preference. You gotta focus, you gotta put your attention on what you actually would like to experience, without, now this is the key, without stomping your feet, telling the universe, or having this such strong will is like, it has to happen. No, you don't need it to happen. It can happen. You prefer for it to happen. So that's why your specific person comes into your life or not, you're still going to live. You're still going to live. You're still going to drink. You're still going to have your food. You're still going to have maybe a sleepless night, but you still got to have a bed. Your life goes on. This is what I'm saying. So if you ask for something from a neutral place, these are the possibilities. My story, my experience reflect all of this. It's just possible. I don't recommend you to live on the edge like I do. A part of me really deep down feels living on the edge helps me to call out all these so-called miraculous circumstances to me, draw them to me, and hence they are in my life. They were drawn to me for sure. But I don't recommend you drop a place within 20 hours and just come to another place, another city where you don't know anyone and then expect things to miraculously work out for you. If that's on your heart, do it. But if it's not, you have all these worries and doubts and fear that they are just super overflowing, rather than you keeping an open heart and welcoming experience you would like to experience, don't do it. I intend you enjoyed my story. If you at any point actually the umbrella's brand was Heaven. It was a Chinese brand, super long-standing famous Chinese brand. It's called Heaven. So I got that was a synchronicity as well. And also the girl that ended up helping me comes from my origin back in China. So that is super synchronistic. Everything came together completely, just like a freaking symphony. Everything worked out absolutely beautifully for me. If you have any questions, you wonder at what point how my state of being was during the process for me to experience miracles, feel free to drop questions in the comments. I will answer at some point. Blessings.